Why, hello there. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is Mr. Dogbo333, and welcome to Hearts of Iron 4, The New Order, Silicon Dreams. It's been a long time coming. Basically any TNO content at all, outright. I wasn't the most interested in Guangdong, I'll admit, honestly, when I heard they were getting content. But one, seeing the leaks and seeing how interesting it kind of turned out to be, and two, being the fact that we haven't gotten new country content for TNO for a whole country since, I guess, Ireland with cutting room floor and all those countries, if you want to be technical. New content has been kind of a drop fed to us slowly. So I'm very, very happy to see a new update for TNO. And I haven't played TNO's, I think, basically since the update. Which is kind of true, actually. Last time we played was Amor, which we hopped in as Mr. Rudzewski and had a very cursed time unifying Russia. We had high poverty, and we basically forced everyone to slavery. But we took over, and we put ourselves in a pretty decent position. That was the last game I played in the last patch, and since then, Silicon Dreams has dropped. There have been a few hotfixes since, which I was waiting for, because I didn't have time to just sit down and record and play all this in one go for a while, because my weeks were kind of busy. And I'm going to just stop rambling and stuff and go ahead and start, because it is time for me to hop in. I like the well, that's cool. Penelope's Web, Canada, coming in Northwest Pat. Okay, they have Vision's End Team coming in Shifting Tides. I like how they all updates now. Yeah, I knew Alechi Roos was coming. Coming in Europe is Narbon. Alechi Roos. That's the Ukrainian update. We have Guangdong finally. Manchuria's coming in. The Creaking Wheel, I guess they have a whole new name for that. Turkey content comes soon. Falston. Quebec. I dread the idea, honestly, but okay, let's check out all this stuff first, because yeah, I'm a little flustered right now, but I'm also excited. I got done finishing up the 1,000-Week Reich series, so I've been talking for a little bit, but so you're going to have to forgive me for being rambling. But I'm also very much looking forward to some new TNO content. 27 minutes. So here we go. Guangdong. Carved out of the Republic of China's concession to the Zaibatsus. At the end of a greater East Asian war, the state of Guangdong is an experiment in corporate colonialism, an unnatural entity existing between its Chinese roots and its Japanese suzerain. Despite its independence, Guangdong is far beneath Japan, China, or even Manchukuo in status, its chief executive playing second fiddle for the rest of the co-prosperity sphere, even as the four companies of Guangdong greedily exploit Guangdong's land and people for their own benefit. Guangdong is a country without a nation, a society bound together by wire transfers, banknotes, and share certificates, and the glittering three pearls of Guangdong: Hong Kong, Macau, and Koshu. The four companies and the chief executives indulge in boardroom politics as the Japanese expatriates lord over the Cantonese Japanese Zujin, who struggle for recognition as second-class citizens. Beneath them all, the Chinese are herded from their ancestral towns into the electronics sweatshops on the Pearl River, a people displaced inside their own homeland. As Asia awakens, few ask, will Guangdong survive the storm to come? I get paid next week. I'll do up to if you do it. You tempt me, Kev. We'll go ahead and select a country. So here we are. I'm digging the sax, by the way. I gotta say that the sax music is nice. I have a request from a dear friend of the channel. Gotta find... Strengthening Comey. And my friend wants to see... Jesus Christ, they had a lot of options, didn't they? Jesus. Where's Russia? Russia. God, what the fuck do I do with this? That is confusing. We'll do a right coalition majority. And I think that'll be set up for Kev. So there you go, laddie. Love you, pal. So that should set us up for a little fun. But, enough time for that. Right, I forgot TNO added achievements. That's wild. Anyway, I'm going to stop dilly-dallying, because I want to hop in and play this dang game. Foot went dead, and I just went to stand up and Feely fell over because I couldn't feel my foot. Oh, no. God, I hate when that happens. I'm going to get the timer going. So I'm gonna be honest with everyone. I've told the chat this already. I have no fucking idea what I'm gonna do. I paid attention to some of the leaks. I was thinking of playing Sony, but I think there's only one other LP, at least a major LP, that Mocha Lover did, and that was Sony. So my idea has already been taken from me, which is what I get for waiting 2.5 weeks to do anything. I guess. Yeah. Gotta wait for the game to load. Little deals with different Chinese warlords land to Japan outside the RCs. I'm not entirely sure either, because I know they've mixed up some stuff, but I'm not fully aware of what the stuff they mixed up was. But hopefully we'll get some... Okay, that is just... They're just flexing. That's just flexing at this point. And also, oh my god, the frame rate is horrible. We're at 9 frames a second. Okay, we're at 10, which is not much better. Oh my god. Carved out of a Republic of China as an independent state by Japanese fiat in the Canton Protocols of 1950, the state of Guangdong is an experiment unlike any other in history, an artificial nation dedicated solely to corporate colonialism. Where the Empire of Japan's other conquests in Asia, even its most artificial child, the Empire of Manchuria, pay lip service to Co-Prosperity Spear's vision of Pan-Asianism, Guangdong stands alone in its devotion to the yen under the whims of the 4 companies: Sony, Matsushita Electric, Fujitsu, and Yasuda. Through a combination of neglect from Tokyo and the reckless ambition of its tycoons, Guangdong has become a place in the sphere where pretenses fall away in favor of naked greed and the pursuit of profit. But not all is well inside the world's only bastion of unchecked capitalism. Which I thought that was Reich. I thought it was Central Africa was kind of like that, but I guess that works too. Here we go. The native Chinese populations toil endlessly in the factories of the 3 pearls of Guangdong: Guangzhou, Hong Kong, and Macau, while receiving none of the benefits accruing from Japanese industrialists and expatriates that oversee their corporate exclave. Between them, Vesuzhian, educated professionals and businessmen fluent in Japanese but local to Guangdong, both serve and benefit from Guangdong's economic order. A middle class declared as collaborators by the Chinese and seen as useful proxies by Japanese expatriates. Crime and corruption are widespread, while the triads and Yakuza are vying for control over the web of vice that sprawls over Guangdong's underground in defiance of an undermanned Guangdong police force and an uncaring Kenpai Tai garrison. In Guangdong, crime is less an aberration than simply another means of doing business, a reciprocal relationship of favors done and debts owed. Internationally, Guangdong is afforded the trappings of a country and little else. China, holding fast to its pride, refuses to accord Guangdong's representatives the equal treatment that they deserve, while Japan's attention has long since drifted away from its unnatural tributary. Manchukuo, the original Pan-Asian experiment, remains a crown jewel of a spear, equally coalescing towards China's poverty and Guangdong's corporate upstarts alike. The frame rate's better now, I'm glad. Guangdong is a country without a nation, in either spirit or in form, and its chief executive, Suzuki Taichi, begins an uneasy mission to bring Guangdong and its corporations back into Japan's dominion. The people and tycoons of Guangdong wait and yearn for a future, a nation that could yet be theirs. So, a Pax Economica, I like that actually. Chief Executive Suzuki Taichi's resume speaks for itself. Former general with experience in China, followed by a cabinet position in the Tojo government and a seat in the House of Peers since 1943. When Prime Minister Ino Hiroya needed to bring Guangdong back in line with Tokyo, he could think of only one name to see it done. Suzuki's more hands-on and status approach to running the free-wheeling Guangdong economy irritates the Legislative Council and the four companies who are used to running Guangdong with little interference, but the culture of corruption in Guangdong, combined with Yasuda's backing for Suzuki, is enough to keep the tycoons in check. For the good of the Empire of Japan and the preservation of a co-prosperity sphere, Suzuki Taichi enters 62 prepared to lay the foundation of a stronger, more sustainable Guangdong, and to remind the corporates of their duty to the empire. So first we have Yasuda. But Yasuda Zaibatsu enters Showa 33, riding high throughout the Japanese Empire, expanding in every possible direction. It operates in the state of Guangdong, supervised by Representative Director Matsuzawa Tajuki. Since 1959, there are no exceptions. Yasuda's preeminent position gives Matsuzawa wherewithal to play the long game. He's fully capable of lying down and tasting gall, as the ancient Chinese proverb says, until he comes out victorious. His position as a controller-in-chief of Yasuda interests in Guangdong mean that he can afford magnanimity to a degree that no other tycoon can, a source of power within itself. But knowledgeable observers look closely at the director's attitude and see that he's less enthusiastic about his position than he should be. For all the perks, Matsuzawa feels that he has been somehow sidelined for some reason or another. He's eager to find out why. The pronunciations this campaign are going to be interesting, I know. If it's not clear already. Here we have Sony. Sony is Guangdong's premier electronics firm, founded in 1954 as Morita Akio's second commercial venture after Tokyo Telecommunications, before Fujitsu acquired the firm in 1952. With the home island's intolerant failure, Morita remade himself in Guangdong alongside struggling factory owner Li Kai-shing, releasing the sphere's first non-Japanese transistor radio, the TR-56 in 1955, before becoming embroiled in a bitter trademark dispute with his former partner Ibuka Masaru. Though Li has since founded his own firm, Cheong Kong Enterprises, Morita and Li have weathered every obstacle placed in their way, with Sony establishing its own faction of the Legislative Council in 1960. For every outsider, Morita argues for the interests of the Zhejiang community and his Chinese laborers, for those who gave him a second lease on life when Japan offered them nothing. So basically, the Guangdong Spear is what I'm picking up for this guy. Matsushita Electric Company is famed as one of the few independent electronics manufacturers in the home islands. Matsushita Konosuke, its founder, rules the corporation as chairman from its headquarters in Osaka. In Guangdong, Matsushita Mashaharu, his adopted son-in-law, has served as as its operational head since '61, expanding Matsushita into the Chinese international markets from its regional office in Koshu. Mashiharu's position as an adopted heir to the Matsushita conglomerate plagues him with insecurity and self-doubt, as his father Kamosuke increasingly questions his worthiness to inherit the Matsushita fortune with each passing year. Venga Matsushita strives with all of his strength to make Matsushita the largest household electronics company on the co-prosperity sphere, with a view on building a literal empire for his adopted family in the Pearl River Delta. Next, Fujitsu. Born shortly before the outbreak of the Second Sino-Japanese War, Fujitsu Limited is one of the oldest IT companies in the world, tied to the Furukawa Zaibatsu. This pedigree, however, failed to translate into fame and fortune in the post-war era. That is, until Ibuka Masaru came along. Sharp, erudite, and above all exceptionally bold, the upstart engineer was welcomed into Fujitsu by his acquisition of Tokyo Telecommunications in '52. Despite a bitter estrangement from his friend and business partner Morita Aiko, Ibuka's rise within Fujitsu's ranks proved nothing short of stellar, becoming Fujitsu's president by '59. Now as he forms a fickle alliance with Mashiharu and rails against his competition-turned-rival Akio, he has made it its sole purpose, above all, to make his vision, his dream world, manifest in Guangdong, a paradise of science, of reason, where every person deserves, and only deserves, their best. And then we have scoundrels and statesmen. Even as the tycoons tussle over political influence, the power of the underworld is such that their respectable interlocutors, Stanley Ho for the Triads, and Yokoi Hideki for the Yakuza, are as influential as the legal commissioner of police, who relies on the Kenpai ties colonial Miyazaki Kiyotaka to assist in the police and intelligence duties. From beyond Guangdong's borders, the Empire of Japan tends to its interest in Guangdong via General Nagano Shigeto and the Consul General Takashima Masuo, representative of military and civilian branches of Japan's government. For the Republic of China, the loss of Guangdong in 1950 still smarts. Consul General Song Jiguang, a native of Guangdong, offers his begrudging assistance to corporate states, assisted by the senior political attaché Wang Jingzhu, a representative of the Chinese military with far less patience than Song. So we're in a pretty interesting position, aren't we? Well, Gayao. So here we are. We gotta get all our troops. We have 7 divisions. Nothing wild or crazy, but it's okay. Field Marshal will go with... Oh, God. Kuribayashi Tadamichi. I'm going to apologize ahead of time for any Japanese people, Japanese speakers, for butchering this language. Same to the Chinese people who are watching this. I can barely speak English sometimes. It's usually a disclaimer I give, but I barely know my own dang language, so I'm probably going to fuck up yours, and I'm sorry about that. And for generals, we'll go with Arasue Saizo. But yeah, I mean, I don't even watch anime. I'm a winner who doesn't watch anime. So I don't even have a baseline in that. The only thing I used to watch was Ninja Warrior. That's the only major exposure I've had to Japanese language. So you'll have to bear with me and forgive me my incompetence. But here we go. So here we are, our leader. Suzuki Taichi. A decorated IJA officer, former head of a cabinet planning board, Suzuki Taichi was intimately involved in the construction of Japan's wartime economy and subsequent economic planning for the Japanese New Order in Asia. Hey, that's the name of the mod, New Order. An esteemed member of the House of Peers since '43, Prime Minister Ino has named Suzuki the next chief executive of the state of Guangdong in order to use his Chinese experience, military connections, and economic expertise to bend Guangdong's corporations to the will of Tokyo. His hands-on and status approach to running Guangdong's freewheeling economy ranks the 4 companies of Guangdong, which have become accustomed to running Guangdong with minimal interference. However, the culture of corruption, fostered by years of weak oversight from Tokyo and the backing of Yasuda Bank, per Prime Minister Ino's instructions, is enough for Suzuki to keep the four companies in line for now. Suzuki sees a territory blind by greed, forgetful of its obligations, and unaware of consequences of his actions. While he has no special affection for the Chinese in Guangdong, he is keenly aware that without the resources of Tokyo to maintain a strong security apparatus, as in Manchukuo, negative repression is not a sustainable solution to Chinese dissident activities. For the good of Japan, Suzuki will lay the foundation of a new, stronger Guangdong and bring the corporate behemoths and their executives to heel. Well, we'll see how that goes. Oh, I know, Kev. I fucking love Ninja Warrior. It's still going on, they just don't export it, or they don't have anyone subtitle it anymore. Which sucks, because I fucking love that show. So we'll check out our National Spirits. We're between two worlds, which is a bunch of shit, and we can't train anything. It's a nominally independent state, serving as a de facto economic appendage of Japan. Guangdong is a geopolitical accident, and its people and government suffer from identity crisis as a result. While a majority of Chinese population ruled by a small class of Japanese expatriates and a small but growing group of Cantonese Japanese residents, after over a decade of colonial rule, the people of Guangdong have little attachment to the Guangdong as a political concept, but neither are they keen to bow to the will of Nanjing or Tokyo. Guangdong is caught between two worlds, born of the two cultures, and accepted by neither. Only time will tell what Guangdong becomes, even as China and Japan go their separate ways. But sure, it's only because it's all the international versions, which I don't mind the international versions. That's the only Ninja Warrior I can really watch nowadays anyway, because otherwise I'd go to weird pirate sites and not understand what's going on. But so we have a culture of corruption, the finest money can buy. A historic inclination towards small, some say meager government, massive volumes of financial transactions, and loose oversight have all contributed to turn Guangdong's government into a breeding ground for corruption and graft. But temptation to accept T-money is a universal one and makes the business of government far more difficult to conduct as extra effort and funding is needed to make sure directives are processed. We have pervasive Kenpai-Tai experts, which has a bunch of stuff that I don't fully understand, but I'm sure we'll figure it out soon enough. Ever since Guangdong's establishment, the Kenpai-Tai have played an outsized role in providing security and intelligence services, often eclipsing Guangdong's small and underfunded local police. Many locals view Guangdong Police Force as little more than glorified auxiliaries to the Japanese military garrison and its intelligence apparatus, and forces of a clear ethnic hierarchy in Guangdong that pervades nearly all aspects of life. Then finally, fiscal health. Sound. Nice. The chief executive is doing a damn good job keeping Guangdong's money under control, I dare say. Most impressive work. Nowhere else I'd want to put my money than in Guangdong. This kind of praise that comes out of the average investor's mouth when he's asked about the fiscal health of Guangdong. Our fiscal situation is sound. Debt levels are contained, the budget is balanced, and things are going relatively well. That's good. Dang, these guys have nicknames and stuff. I'm going to check this out real quick. I want to enter... Oh my god, look at that. That is just cool. We have no ordinances. Right now, but... yeah. So, inside Guangdong's state of corporations, something resembling a democratic parliament akin to the ones in Japan and Britain exist. Though these seats are not elected, rather they comprise the 100 most important businessmen in Guangdong. These businessmen are the ones who vote on the ordinances of Guangdong, which dictate policy and the future direction of Guangdong. The businessmen flock to where it's most profitable will be, and their votes and loyalty are traded as currency by the different presidents, the main companies of Guangdong. Or in some cases, brought away to change the dynamics of the council. The chief executive proposes the ordinance of the Legislative Council, and should 50 seats support the ordinance, it will go into effect. The businessmen are not bound loyally to the corporation, however. For ordinances of Guangdong, the usual voting period for it is 30 days, though exceptions can occur in special cases. An ordinance does not usually survive without changes and might need amendments which will be proposed by other parties to seek out more support. However, no ordinance can have more than 5 amendments. Whenever a bill's vote has been concluded, it will be archived to the ordinance history and will stay there to document the Council of Guangdong's Legislative Council. So these are coolest Night City legends. Just look at those shades. Those shades are pretty badass, I'm not gonna lie. Look at that. I'm getting... This isn't the perfect comparison, but I'm kind of getting Singapore vibes. It's kind of like Singapore if it was... Still hold on to colonial forces. So that's that. We'll have to check... We'll check this all out in, I think, the next part. Just because I've done a lot of recording already. And I want to check out these heads of government real quick. So we have a gentleman banker, Matsuzawa Tajuki, representative director of the Suda Bank's Guangdong branch since 1959. Tajuki runs the financial conglomerate operations in Guangdong, which are but one part of a sprawling financial network that stretches from Tokyo to Calcutta. Yasuda's prominent position as the only one of the big four zaibatsus among the four companies, meaning that Matsuzawa also serves as the de facto second command of the civil government, chief secretary on top of his corporate duties. After a distinguished career in the home islands, managing minor corporate clients in the Ministry of Finance, Matsuzawa was rumored to be a prime candidate to join the board of directors, making his assignments to Guangdong a surprise, more so to Matsuzawa himself. Yasuda's recent turn towards breakneck overseas expansion, as encouraged by Prime Minister Ino's government, might particularly explain things, but many still wonder as to the true reason why Matsuzawa was sidelined, whether it simply reflects differences over business strategy or something more. So, literally cyberpunk or Deus Ex. I see that too. Like a real-life comparison, I can only kind of think of Singapore. Although Singapore is not nearly as weird or fucked up as Guangdong seems to be. Next we have Ibuka Masaru, the visionary engineer. Masaru is known for two things: his towering command of electrical engineering, his many opinions. The former served him well as the president of Fujitsu, the electronics subsidiary of the Furukawa Zaibatsu, while the latter makes him an outspoken defender of the four companies' interest in Tokyo, and Nanjing, when he can be bothered to leave his workstation to venture into China. Apart from his professional history, Ibuka is well known for his long-standing feud with Akio Sony. After two parted ways acrimoniously in 1952 following the acquisition of their joint venture Tokyo Telecommunications Engineering by the Furukawa Group. In the years since, Ibuka has tirelessly sought to realize his vision of a transistorized future, rising through the ranks of Fujitsu and aggressively expanding its presence in Guangdong, no matter what Morita or anyone else thinks. I played a little bit of Human Revolution, but not too much, actually. Never finished it. Next we have Mashaharu, the adopted scion. Mashaharu is the heir apparent to Matsushita Electric, invented by the esteemed Matsushita Konosuke to be his successor, and yet the two could hardly be more different. Was Konosuke is one of Japan's vanishingly rare self-made men, elementary school dropout who cut his teeth selling electrical fans from door to door in Osaka, Masaharu was born to the peerage, graduate of Tokyo Imperial University, an elite financier who took on the Matsushita name upon marrying into the family in 1940. Worldly, urbane, and refined, Matsushita took to his duties as Matsushita Electric with a grace and sophistication not out of place in Tokyo's boardrooms, and befitting his role as Guangdong's financial secretary. But where most see a worthy heir to Matsushita Empire, the two Matsushitas are rumored to have grown apart, the elder increasingly critical of his heir's abilities, the younger seeking to improve. His 20-year apprenticeship was not in vain. And finally we got Miyazaki Kiyotaka, the Kenpai-tai's warden. Wouldn't be mistaken to see Colonel Miyazaki Kiyotaka as another enforcer of Japan's will in Guangdong, or as a relic of Japan's past triumphs. Unlike the new IJA recruits rotated into the Three Pearls, or the ancient general officers sent out to pasture, Miyazaki is a 20-year veteran of the China campaign still in his prime. Starting as a non-commissioned Kenpai-tai officer during World War II, Miyazaki spent nearly all of his career on the Chinese mainland, hunting KMT remnants and dissidents in Manchukuo, the RRC, and now in Guangdong. To the Chinese residents of Guangdong, he is an implacable predator, coming after those who wish to test the patience of the police and the Japanese once too often. To the Japanese, he's a tireless defender of law and order, a swift and final arbiter for any problem too intricate to buy off. All know that Miyazaki is a dangerous man, a man with power and almost limitless authority to go with it. So these are the characters we have. We've done all this. We have not actually started a focus tree. I'd like to point that out. So let's do that. Guangdong is a world of dreams, caught in between three realities. For the Chinese living in the countryside cities, their dreams have or will be broken as we toil in the mines and factories, are evicted from the land, and face abject poverty on all sides. For the Japanese elite, their dreams are coming to fruition. The state serves them in their every whim, swayed by their words and orders. They live in opulence, sustained by the suffering, or in lighter terms, hard work of everyone else. And Cantonese Japanese are caught in the middle of this contradiction, a mix of a local population and Japanese. They are the middle class, an ideal that the Chinese strive for. They strive to achieve their lifestyle of elite. Despite these conditions, thousands of migrants come to Guangdong searching for a place to fulfill their wildest dreams. Chief Executive Suzuki is but one of them. There's a long road ahead of him and innumerable obstacles along the way, but the path is paved, and Suzuki intends to walk it. I'm going to take my jacket off real quick, my hoodie. Get to show off the guns a little bit. Let's check out the ideology real quick. Corporate statism. I think it's the new one. Okay, we got a lot of shit to read. I'll read all of this in the next video. I'm gonna check what we got so far. Political policies are interesting. We're reducing our poverty rate, actually, which I kind of like to see. Whether we'll actually keep it or not is to be determined. Let's go ahead and get research going. Let's do anti-air weapons. Let's do... I'm actually pretty well caught up, tech-wise. I'm used to playing, China, or, in Russia, so I'm pleasantly surprised. And we have some decent stuff. Welcome to Guangdong. Here you'll find extra settings to make your game on the Silicon Delta either harder or easier, where this category will disappear after the first week. Thereafter, the changes laid out in the settings will take place. This enables more intense or more relaxed playthroughs. For the first playthrough, we recommend not increasing the difficulty, as playing Guangdong requires a good understanding of TNO and the nation's unique mechanics. Now, I don't have that, but I'm not going to lower the mechanics anyway. I'm going to keep it as it is. I'm surprised the poverty rate isn't higher. I kind of am, too. We'll keep it as it is for now. We have a ledger. Well, that's just a general thing. I think all countries have that. This is very interesting. I'm very excited. We got free civilian factories. What do we need? We need some hospitals, especially in Chosu. I fucking love this music, by the way. We also could use a school eventually in Momai. Can find the schools. There we go. Free military factories. I'll hold out for now. Now we're gonna get on anti-air eventually. Bang. Sound of gavel stood Tanda Tatsuya, 53 years old, Chief Marketing Officer at Yamashiro Chemicals Ltd., Hong Kong. With his usual booming yet soothing voice, he delivered the contents of a stack of papers in hand unto the rest of the complex. He talked of skyrocketing numbers of the shining furnaces of today, including lining the Kowloon Riverside, and the surely indispensable patronage of Morita Akio that brought them back teeming with life. Teeming with life indeed, he smiled, his mind back to yesterday's crate of shipments landing up at his doorstep. Up stood Inaba Yukio, 46-year-old, VP of Collective Tomorrow Enterprises. He smirked and applauded the marvelous stunt by the infamous Sony Yes Man speaking before him. He then preached of derelict storefronts littering Hong Kong's outskirts, the hazards of Guangdong's over-reliance of industries of little concern. His voice was calm, monotone, yet with every passing minute another dagger pierced the veil. He was fighting the good fight, of course he was. Secure one more plot of land in Kowloon for Fujitsu, and there's a way left towards promotion. Bang! Kawasaki Kaiichi, 61 years old, representative director of Akagi Finance, sat unmoving, his corpulent, stony complexion barely betraying the grin blossoming underneath. It was he who brought up the slip of land in the legislative council in the first place. His contacts in Matsushita instructed him so. Let the two rivals shout each other into gridlock. Then he and his friend shall move in and take all the spoils. No one will know. Not today. Bang, bang, bang. The 100 suits, black and white and blue, rose to their feet in perfect unison. With this, we fulfill our service to the chief executive, to the state of Guangdong, and may our prosperity reign for 1,000 years more, they chanted. Then came the scattering tango of heels on the marble floor. Another day of good cooperation is thus called, and then the great chief executive shall do well to serve them. Dance with my hands in yours. Dance until dawn breaks. Well, we gotta start somewhere. But I think we're also gonna end there. Just because, I don't want to go on for too long. I'm sure there's plenty of stuff that we can check out. Consider this a bit more of an intro, especially since we only made it 3 days in. Well, I don't know how much further we'll get in the next video, to be honest. But yeah, I'm leaving it there. All of you people, thank you for watching. Like if you like this, dislike if you didn't. If you have any comments, feedback, concern, leave in the comment section below. I read all the comments down below, and I appreciate any and all feedback you may have for me. Yeah. I have a bunch of links down in the description box below. Check them out. Keep up to date with the uploads by hitting the sub button. I try to upload it every weekday as well as occasionally Saturdays. And yeah, that's it for now, my friends. I thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.